Journey of people. Now, people is 42% of the exam. And if I say that the mindset that is used in the PMP exam for this people domain is more than 42%. The feedback that we are getting from the students, like there are 70 to 80% of the questions, they are related to team and how to manage team and stakeholders. That's all about people. So let's dig into this thing. What is basically people and how to tackle these questions. First of all, when the exam says people, it consists of 3 to 4 topics. It consists of stakeholder, it consists of team, also known as resource, and it is consist of basically communication. The entire topic is basically how do you communicate with resource and team, and how do you manage the expectations of stakeholder. Now, why this is so important that it has received 42% of the exam. Guys, what is project? Project is done for the stakeholders, to satisfy the stakeholder. And who does the project? Team does the project. It's all about people management. So understanding about people and what are the things that you need to do to manage them, to ensure that they are satisfied, that they are there at their best level, is all about PMP. Just think about it. What is the job of a project manager? The job of project manager is only one thing: to manage people. It's not to manage scope, not schedule, not cost, risk. His job is to manage people, and then the people in return manage those scopes, schedule, cost, and all those things. No project manager is an expert in detailed scheduling or detailed costing, contract, all those things. He must be expert in interpersonal skills. He must be expert in handling stakeholder, understanding the needs of the team, and seeing how they can identify it and how that can be fulfilled. So let's go with the journey of the people. I will use Tuckman ladder in order to consider this journey and see how we can work on this. Again, we have covered journey of business environment, that is a 8%. This is journeys of people, and then I will do journey of process, which will cover the other things. So if we move towards the Tuckman ladder, why Tuckman ladder? It is also known as stages of team. Okay, so let's work on that. So Tuckman ladder is basically we have here time as time passes, and we have productivity here. Okay, I can put it Tuckman ladder. Now let's go to the beginning phase. The first phase, of course, is forming. The team is being formed. Okay, so let me put it in this way. When do you start managing stakeholder? The first step in the management is when the project charter is being done. Now I know that the project is started once the project charter gets formalized, it is signed, but more and more organizations are involving project manager in making a project charter. Since he is going to handle the entire project, they are involving him in the making of project charter. So once the project charter is being done, key stakeholders are being identified, key milestones are being done. So even in the forming stage, we have a project charter. When the project charter is being done, assumption log is being made. You see, one of the key assumption in the assumption log is that the particular stakeholder will be available, the particular stakeholder will be supportive to us in the project. This is very important to understand that it starts with the start of the project. The management of the people starts with the start of the project. And then once these two are done, the most important thing is stakeholder register. We make stakeholder register that identifies all the stakeholders. All the stakeholders of the projects are identified. They are rated according to power interest metrics, like who has high power, high interest, They are also classified as upward, downward, all those things, and they are put in the stakeholder register. Once they are put in the stakeholder register, then we make those stakeholder engagement metrics to see what is the current engagement level of the stakeholder and what is the desired engagement level. And we make stakeholder engagement plan to change the current engagement level of the stakeholder to the desired engagement level. Let me put this in one way because this is very, very important. Like, you identify the stakeholder, okay? You classify the stakeholders. You classify them as upward, downward, sideward, neutral, whatever. You classify them, then you rank them through power interest matrix. He has high power, high interest, low power, high interest, low power, low interest, high power, low interest. Okay, you manage these stakeholders more of a manage closely. You keep them satisfied, you keep them informed, and you put them in the watch list. Once you have made all those things, okay, then you see the key stakeholder and their current engagement level. Is he unaware? Is he neutral? Is he resistant? Is he supportive? Leading? Name of the stakeholders. Okay. What is the current engagement level? And what are the desired engagement level? Okay. What is the current engagement level and desired engagement level? And stakeholder engagement plan is nothing but all the strategy that you use to change the current engagement level into your desired engagement level at that particular time. Stakeholder engagement plan. You implement the stakeholder engagement plan, and that's all about stakeholders thing. But you also use one more plan while you are doing this, and that is communication management plan. You use communication management plan while changing the strategies, because most of the strategies are all about 4R. Right information at right time to right people to have the right impact. Communication is all about this: right information, right time, right people, having the right impact. But who has the authority to share the information? In what format, what language? Understanding the culture, diversity that is needed in order to change the engagement level from current to desired. All those things. So stakeholder engagement plan and communication management plan both goes hand in hand when you are trying to manage the stakeholders. This is very important. When you make this, communication plan is made along the way, and you put the strategies, the format, the time frequency, all those things in your communication management plan. Okay, in the meantime, now this is very interesting. This is where things get more interesting. In the meantime, you also make resource management plan. Now, you want to manage the stakeholders, but who is going to manage the stakeholders? This team or these resources, they are going to manage the stakeholders. So you need to decide which type of stakeholders, which type of resources you require. Do you require physical resources or virtual resources can be there? So if you want to get physical resources, what are the challenges they are going to face? If you are going to get virtual resources, what are the challenges they are going to face? Which type of communication will be required? That also goes into communication plan. Push communication, pull interactive. How do you manage those resources? This also goes in this way. So you see, stakeholder engagement plan, communication management plan, and resource management plan. These three are interlinked with each other. And I would say they are the new real PMP. So this is basically the people domain. This is the people domain. How do you understand them? Which type of resources are required? And very important things that you need to understand for them. Emotional intelligence. What is EQ? Like emotional intelligence consists of know yourself. How do you, like, what things trigger you? Know others. Know yourself. Know yourself. Manage yourself. Knowing yourself is one thing, but then managing yourself in order to you can work on them. Know others. Okay, know others. Influence others. Empathy, motivation. Then those motivational theories, they are very important. Which stakeholders are motivated by which theory? Maslow theory, that McLeod achievement theory, Hertzberg theory of motivation, all those things goes hand in hand there. So you need to know that for resource, how does resource motivate it, and which stakeholder is at which current engagement level and what he needs. Maybe he is at a lower needs and he needs a higher need, so you change the strategies according to that, and those strategies goes where? Into the stakeholder engagement plan. But how do you communicate? That's got into the communication management plan. So very interesting things are here. Stakeholder engagement plan, all about the strategies. Communication plan, all about the frequency, format of the communication. Resource management plan, all about the team, when to acquire that team, when to release that team, which type of the team is there, the resource calendar, the RESI matrix, all those things in resource management plan. Now, very important thing, collaboration. We need to collaborate with the team. We need to work with the team. We need to mentor the team and stakeholders. For PMP perspective, consider stakeholder and team as the same thing. You need to mentor the team. You need to mentor the stakeholder. You need to identify the training needs of the stakeholders. You need to identify the training needs of your team or resources. You need to provide the trainings, and then you need to measure the objectives of those training. Training, and especially virtual trainings, are becoming more and more important in the current PMP, because since the world is changing, no student, no stakeholders has a perfect knowledge of everything. Why we need to train them? Let's work on this way. Let's say you have a stakeholder, he does not know about the agile mindset, and your team is working with the agile mindset. How you are going to work with it? That's a big question. You need to identify this training need, like doing a training need assessment, identify this training need, provide that training, and then measure the objective. Now he knows it, and now he can become maybe your supportive and all those things. So this is an important thing that you need to do. You need to work on the stakeholders, you need to do your time, and you need to collaborate with them. Collaboration is very important. I'll come to some tips for the questions to answer for this thing. So all those things must be decided in the forming. Which type of team is there, the stakeholder register is there, stakeholder engagement plan, communication plan, resource management plan, all those must be done before the forming stage. So let's say the forming stage starts, you have decided the team is working there. Now after some time you will have conflict. After some time we will reach to the storming stage. Storming stage is a very important stage, and every team will pass to that stage. You start getting conflict. The teams start fighting with each other. The conflict can be schedule priorities. The conflict can be anything. It's the job of the project manager to identify the stage of the conflict. Identify stage of the conflict. Like, is it a lower conflict? Like it's a disagreement, problem to solve, contest, a crusade, world war, and use the appropriate technique to solve the conflict. We have various conflict management techniques that we can use. For example, if we put concerns for ourselves and concerns for others. Concern for others. Okay, if I put 2 by 2 matrix here, if we care for others and we care for ourselves, we will go for problem solving, collaboration, confronting. If we care for others more and care for ourselves less, then we will kind of accommodate them. It's more of a win-win. It's more of a we are losing, they are winning. We will accommodate them. We may even try smoothing. If we care for ourselves more, we will force it. We will force the solution. This has become win-lose. It's also called as that. If we don't care about us or them, we will avoid or withdraw from that. Or if we can find a neutral thing, that can also be a compromise. As a project manager, your job while you are dealing with a conflict is move from avoid to compete to problem solving. This is very important thing. Conflict management is very important thing. And you also need to see what are the kind of behavior driven development. What are the kind of behaviors that the stakeholders and teams are showing, and work according to that. In order to understand this behavior driven development, understanding their emotional intelligence, most of the time active listening to them, their words, their said words, their not said words are very important. Also understanding that there are various surveys, attitudinal surveys, that we use to understand the needs of the person. For example, SWOT analysis. What are the strengths of a person, weaknesses of a person, opportunity, threat. We also do MBTI, Myers-Briggs. We can also do MBTI to understand the persons more. You see, when there is a conflict, when someone is not doing something right, it's not always that they want to do something like that. Most of the time, when there's a conflict, when someone is crying, there's a cry for help. They need your help. As a project manager, it is your job to find out what are their needs. Maybe you have given them a task which is their weaknesses, and there are some tasks that are dependent according to their strengths. So provide them those tasks and work according to that. Very important thing also in management of teams, especially in storming, even in the forming, to provide a safe environment. This comes more in our forming, to provide a safe environment in which team can grow. Team are allowed to make mistakes. They are not scolded and all those things. Guys, any question that say scold the team member, fire the team member, let the team member go, all those options are wrong. Direct the team member, wrong. Collaborate, talk to them, provide a safe environment, provide them caves in which they can do their personal stuff, and common area in which all the team can work together. Common areas, caves, they are very important. Having an osmotic communication, the team can overhear what other team members are saying, so that they can jump in the conversation and can help them during the conversation. Osmotic communication is the name of the game. Having a servant leader mentality, very important. Solving conflict, servant leader mentality. Now this is very important concept for PMP. During my last calls with my PMP aspirants, we always say have a servant leader mentality. What do you mean by servant leader mentality? Servant leader is like a father or a mother. They provide food and waters. What do you mean of food or water? The tools that required to complete the task. Sometimes it also means literally food and water, but most of the time to provide the things that they need to complete the work. Shelter them from any kind of issues. If stakeholders are bugging them with the questions and that is distracting the programmers or the team, work with the stakeholders, work with the team to train stakeholder and otherwise to work on that. As a servant leader, this is your job to help the team. Sometimes you will get a question that there is a conflict between the product owner and the team. You go to the problem solving, still there is a problem. You stand with the team. Team are like your children. You always stand with them, shelter them, provide the foods and fodder. Whole daily stand up. Ask those questions. What are they doing? Daily, the purpose of daily stand up is to inspect and adopt accordingly. And you cannot do without having a servant leadership. Even the questions belongs to predictive. You always have a servant leadership and you always have agile mindset. This is a very key. Agile mindset is not only the responding to a change. The important thing in this is customer collaboration. Helping the team members, helping the stakeholder, collaboration. This is the crust of PMP. So you do all those things. You use information radiators. All those information radiator can be utilized. Information radiator are basically there to show the progress and also help the team member. Those accountability board where it is easy to understand who is responsible, accountable, concerned, informed. Those burn up, burn down chart, Kanban boards, all those things utilized there. Maybe you are working in the framework of Scrum in which a product owner make product backlog, then you make sprint backlog, the team makes sprint backlog in the sprint planning meeting, then you work in the daily stand-up, then you have sprint review in which you review the product, you go do product backlog refinement and sprint retrospective, in which we see what are the things that can be improved for the sprints. Maybe you are working in the Scrum framework, maybe you are working in the predictive, maybe you are working in the hybrid, but these people area remains the same no matter what. You always need to work with the team to see where do they stand, and you need to coach them in the storming stage. Then once it is done properly, then the next stage comes as forming storming, norming stage. Now the things are getting normalized. We are respecting the habits, we are respecting the way how they are working, that things, all those things. In the norming stage, you need to mentor them. Again, identify what is required, one-to-one collaboration, mentoring, all those things. And finally, if it is taken properly, we reach the performance stage where you need to delegate. Here it is more of a direct, here it is more of a coaching, here it is more of a mentoring. Delegate, let them do the task. Don't micromanage the team, let them do their task. And finally, when the team is adjourning, you again need to do coaching and mentoring. In all those areas, it is possible that a new stakeholder is identified. You put it in the, again, stakeholder register, which led to update the stakeholder engagement plan, and which led to the update of communication plan, or a new resource is identified, a new team member has left. Let's say an old team member has left from here performing, and you get a new team member. You again go to here and again follow this ladder cycle. Okay, so this keeps on happening during the project. These are the important things. This is the 42% of the exam. And now some tips and tricks for the question solving this. Agile mindset. Agile mindset, servant leadership. This is the key to solve all questions of the people related. Wherever the word says train, collaborate, do the root cause of the problem, help other, mentor other, coach other, all those positive words, those are the right answers. All those words which is fire, direct, all those things are negative and they are not the answers. So that's all about 42% of the exam in a minimum possible time. So guys, watch this journey, understand it. If you have any question, do let me know. I would be more than happy to answer about all those things that you have question about it. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe it. My commitment to YouTube is increasing day by day. I am putting more stories, those short stories, those journeys videos, just like this, coaching calls, and the lesson learned from the certified students. We already have 174 certified PMP in 2021. And if you want to become certified PMP, we have one-to-one program in which I will directly work with you till you become certified PMP. Or if you want to attend a batch program, the next batch is starting on 15th of October. You can join it and we will make sure you become certified PMP in the minimum possible time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.